All right, so ready to totally crush it in your next job interview.
Who isn't, right?
Well, we're diving into this awesome guide today from Lawrence University's Career Center.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that.
And they have got some seriously next level advice, let me tell you.
It's true. It's true. And not just like your typical,
Dress for success.
yeah, dress for success stuff. They cover that too, though.
Of course.
But this guide, like, really digs deep
Deeper.
into the psychology of interviewing.
Oh, interesting.
Like for both, in-person and virtual settings.
Oh, wow. I like that. Very relevant these days.
Yeah.
So, okay, let's unpack this thing. So first up, pre-interview research.
Yes.
Which, it's got to be more than just, like, Googling the company 5 minutes before you walk in the door, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's way more than just trying to, like, sound smart. The guide actually has this whole thing about, like, it being a two-way street.
Okay.
Like, you're interviewing them just as much as they're interviewing you.
I like that.
It encourages you to think almost like, I don't know, like a detective or something.
Really dig in.
Yeah. Dig into their industry competitors, even their financials, if they're public.
Oh.
Really figuring out if their whole, like, goals and their values
Yeah, it's a
line with yours, not just you trying to, like,
kiss up, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I like that a lot. So it's about finding the right fit,
Mm-hmm.
not just any fit.
Exactly.
Okay. Now, let's talk about those dreaded behavioral questions.
Oh, yeah.
Tell me about a time
Ugh, the worst.
that just make everyone sweat.
Yeah, you get all clammy.
So what are you even supposed to say?
Right, exactly.
So this guide has this thing called the STAR method for tackling those. Have you heard of this?
Yes, and it's kind of brilliant
Right.
because, they say, like, our brains are wired for stories, right?
Yeah, we like stories.
We remember narratives way better than, like, lists of facts or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense.
So the STAR method, it stands for situation, task, action, result.
Okay.
It's basically like a framework.
A formula.
Yeah, to help you turn your, like, experiences into these mini stories that interviewers will actually remember.
I like that. Okay, so instead of just being like, I'm a great problem solver.
Which is what everybody says.
Yeah, exactly.
It's meaningless.
Right. You'd tell a story about, like, a specific time you tackled a problem.
Exactly. And the guide actually gives this great example
Oh, perfect. Yeah, give us an example.
about, like, this person who was the biology club treasurer in college.
Okay.
And they needed to, like, fund this field trip.
Oh, yeah.
But they had a ton of new members, but, like, no extra budget.
Classic.
So canceling the trip was on the table. But instead of just giving up,
Right.
this person, like, used their network and found a co-sponsor so everybody could still go.
Oh, that's smart.
So it shows initiative, problem solving, even a little bit of, like, networking savvy,
Yeah.
all wrapped up in this, like, nice little story.
Yeah, it's much stronger than just saying, like, I'm resourceful.
Oh, for sure. And, because it's so specific,
Yeah.
it's easier for you to actually recall it and adapt it to your own experiences.
Right. That's a really good point.
It's all about giving you, like, actual tools you can use, not just, like...
Yeah, not just vague advice.
Exactly.
Yeah, love that. Okay, now, we can't forget about these days, virtual interviews.
Oh, gosh, the worst.
Which the guide actually compares prepping for a virtual interview to getting ready for, wait for it, a Broadway show.
It's so true. The pressure is on.
Is it really that intense?
Except the guy, it points out that, like, 55%, which is crazy.
That communication is nonverbal.
Yeah. Your
Yeah.
posture, your eye contact, even just, like, your background, it all, like...
It all feeds into that first impression.
Exactly.
So much goes into that first
It
impression.
really does.
Like, you really don't get a second chance to make a
Yeah.
first impression.
Sadly, that's true.
And this guide really digs into those first few minutes.
Yeah.
Whether you are meeting, face-to-face or, like,
Mhm.
through the screen.
It's interesting how they kind of, like, break down the nuances of each setting.
Yeah, tell me more about that.
So, like, for in-person interviews, they go beyond, like, the obvious things,
Right.
like dressing well,
Of course.
being on time,
Yeah.
which those are still important,
You're
obviously.
not off the hook
Right, exactly.
for those.
But
Yeah.
what surprised me was they spend a lot of time on, like, small talk, which I feel like
Oh,
a
interesting.
lot of people just kind of, they dread that part, right?
It can be awkward.
Yeah, it's awkward. It's like, what do I say?
Yeah, exactly.
But they're explaining how it's not just about, like, filling the silence.
Mhm.
It's actually about, like, demonstrating that you're, you can be social,
Yeah, you're easy to talk to.
that you can build rapport.
You're not a robot.
Yeah, exactly. They say to think of it as, like, a low-stakes way for the interviewer
Okay.
to kind of get a feel for, like,
What it'd be like to actually work with you.
yes, like, could I see myself
Yeah.
getting coffee with this person?
Yeah, do I want to go to their birthday party?
Right, exactly. Because if I'm going to be stuck with you in the office 40 hours a week,
I know. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
and I know you're at least somewhat tolerable, right?
Right, exactly.
So those first few minutes, it's almost like they're kind of auditioning you
Yeah.
for the team, not just for, like,
Not for the job on paper, for
right.
not the skills.
Vibe.
Exactly.
Yeah, I like that.
The guide actually gives some good pointers on like how to navigate those initial like
Okay, give it to me.
interactions.
Yeah. Like, be prepared. One thing they say
Okay.
is be prepared to answer those sort of like open-ended,
Yeah.
get-to-know-you kind of questions.
Right.
So not just like, tell me about your resume. It's more like,
Great.
what are you passionate about outside of work?
Okay.
What's like a recent accomplishment that
Yeah.
you're proud of?
Okay.
And they emphasize that these aren't just like throwaway questions.
Right.
They're really like chances for you to kind of to show off a little bit.
Yeah, let your personality shine through.
Yeah. Like how you'd fit into the company culture.
Okay. So you've gotten through that small talk hurdle.
You survive.
You survived. You're in the interview room. This is it.
It's go time.
This is the game, the big game. Yeah.
The pressure is on.
What kind of insider like tips and advice does this guide have for those make or break moments?
Well, they really emphasize like nonverbal cues
Okay.
more than you might think, especially like eye contact,
Sure.
posture, things like that.
Yeah.
They actually cite like studies showing that like interviewers
Right.
are more likely to remember candidates
Okay.
who like maintain good eye contact.
Make you look engaged.
Yeah, and sit up straight because it conveys confidence.
Okay, so like projecting an aura of like, I'm here, I'm present, I'm ready.
Yeah, you're ready, you're engaged, you're not like slouching over here half asleep.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, you don't want to look like you're defeated before you even start, right?
Exactly.
Okay, so it's like that old saying, like, it's not what you say, it's how you say it.
Yeah, and I think that's so true because your body language, it's like constantly communicating whether you realize it or not.
Consciously, yeah.
Yeah. And so the guide suggests like thinking of your posture as kind of a way to like, demonstrate your enthusiasm. So like,
Okay.
lean in a little bit.
Oh, I like that.
When you're engaged, be nodding along
Yeah.
just to kind of like show that you're listening.
Right, you're actively listening, not just like,
Not zoning out.
yeah, you're not just, exactly, daydreaming about, your lunch.
Exactly.
Or whatever.
Exactly. So, and they say like these little things can actually make a difference
They do, yeah.
because it shows that you're present.
Shows that you care. Okay, so we've got posture check, eye contact check.
Check.
What about actually answering the question?
Oh, right. Right.
Like any tips on how to actually like hit a home run with these answers?
Okay, this is where I think the advice, it gets really, really interesting.
Okay, lay it on me.
They actually suggest like incorporating a storytelling
Oh, interesting.
element into your answers,
Okay.
even for like technical questions.
Interesting.
They argue that like by framing your responses as like narratives,
Okay.
it makes your skills and your experience so much more relatable
Oh, that's smart.
and memorable.
Because stories, our brains latch onto stories.
Exactly. Yeah.
So instead of just like listing off, okay, I'm proficient in this, I'm an expert in this.
Right.
You could actually tell a quick story about like how you use that thing.
Exactly. Like, tell me about a time you used that skill
Yeah.
to solve a problem.
And make something happen.
Yeah, to overcome a challenge.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Interesting.
And they even recommend like using sensory details to make your stories even more vivid.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
So instead of just saying, I led a team project, which is,
Everybody. Yeah.
right. It's like
It's boring.
you could describe like the feeling of like, the team working late into the night,
Oh, I like where you're going with this. Yeah.
the sound of like the keyboard clicks
Yeah.
or the sight of like everyone celebrating when you finally like,
You achieved it.
yes, you finally met that deadline.
You met the deadline. I love that.
And those little details, they bring your experience to life, right?
They do.
And they make you stand out.
Yes. They make you memorable, which is what you want.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, because who wants to be the
boring one.
the one they forget as soon as you walk out the door.
Right.
That's the kiss of death in an interview, right?
Exactly.
Okay, so now, we're we're painting this picture with our words.
We are.
It's way more engaging than just stating the facts.
Oh, absolutely.
Speaking of, like, kind of making a statement,
Mm-hmm.
this guy doesn't shy away from the tough topics.
That's true.
Like, what do you do
Oh,
if
please.
an interviewer asks you something
Oh, good question.
out of bounds?
Yeah, that's the worst. You're like,
It happened.
how do I even, yeah.
What do I do?
What do I,
Do I call them out?
right, do you say something?
Right then and there, like,
Or do you just, like, I don't know.
grit your teeth and bear it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, well, that's one of the things I really appreciate about this guide
Yeah.
is that they have a whole section
Oh, good.
on these, like, illegal interview questions.
Interesting. Okay.
So they're reminding you, like, you have rights as a candidate, right?
Yeah.
It's important to know what questions, like, an employer legally can and cannot ask.
That is good to know.
So that you're not,
Totally caught off guard.
right, put on the spot.
Yeah. Blindsided.
Exactly.
So, thank you notes. Right. Are we still, like, are those still a thing?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like back in the day, it was like you had to write a handwritten note.
Oh, with the calligraphy and everything.
Yeah. Like, get out the good stationery.
Right. But these days, who even mails anything anymore, right?
I know, exactly.
Yeah.
But this guide makes a big deal about them.
Well, because it's kind of like your secret weapon,
Oh, how so?
Think about it. Everybody's sending these quick emails, right?
Oh, yeah, just like, thanks for your time.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it.
But like a thoughtful,
Personalized.
yeah, personalized thank you note, it can really like make you stand out.
Oh, interesting. So what's the magic formula here? What are we putting in these magic thank you notes?
Well, the guide says to think of it less like a thank you and more like a follow-up conversation.
Okay.
So yeah, you're reiterating that you're interested, but then you go a little deeper.
Well, I like that.
So did something like really resonate with you?
Yeah.
During the interview, was there something that you connected with the person on?
Yeah.
Like mention it. They even like try to reference something specific
Oh, that's smart.
that you guys discussed.
To show you were listening?
Yeah, to show that you were like present and you were engaged.
Not just like, letting it go in one ear and out the other.
Exactly.
Yeah, because I feel like sometimes you walk out of an interview and you're like, what did we even talk about? I don't know.
Oh, I know. It's all such a blur.
It's such a blur, especially if you've done like back-to-back interviews.
Yeah.
You're just like, brain fried.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, like a personalized thank you note, it can really kind of like cement that.
Yeah, that you were there.
Yeah, that positive feeling,
That you were present, you were listening. Yeah.
Exactly.
Exactly. It's like that saying, it's
What is it?
people will forget what you said, but they'll never forget how you made them feel.
Yes, that's the one.
Right. So even if you don't remember every single detail, if you can leave them with this, like, good feeling,
Exactly.
that goes a long way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, and here's a pro tip for you
Okay.
from the guide.
Yes, hit me.
Don't send the same generic email
Oh, that's a good one.
to everyone you talk to.
Especially if you interviewed with like multiple people.
Yeah. Don't be lazy. Like, take the time.
Right. Like tailor it
Yeah, tailor it.
to each person.
That's huge.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've sent our thank yous.
Fingers crossed.
Feeling good. Now we wait.
Well, not so fast.
Oh, no. What else is there?
So this guide,
Okay.
it actually encourages you to be a little bit, I don't want to say pushy,
Okay.
but proactive
Anyway,
in your follow-up.
so it's not just like radio silence after the thank you.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
So they say, like, maybe send like a brief email,
Okay.
like a week or so later.
Just like checking in.
Yeah, reiterating your interest.
Hey, just wanted to see if
If there's any update.
if you've made a decision.
Exactly.
Okay.
Factual.
Okay. So what if
Yeah.
even after all that,
Yeah.
you don't hear anything back?
Oh, I know. The worst, right?
Like, come on.
Like the agony.
the waiting.
Yes.
So what do we do?
Well, they do acknowledge that, like, sometimes you won't get the response you want,
Yeah, it's true.
which is so hard,
It is hard.
especially when you've put so much effort in.
Right. You're like, I did everything right.
I followed all the steps. Come on.
Right. I did what the guide said.
I know. It's so frustrating.
Ugh, so frustrating. What do we do?
They say even silence is information.
Ooh, that's a good way to look at it.
It might sting a little,
Yeah.
but it's also a chance to kind of, like,
Redirect.
Yeah. Towards something better, hopefully.
Okay, so if a door closes,
Another one opens, hopefully.
look for a window.
Right, exactly. Something like that.
I like that. I like that, yeah.
And, this kind of ties into their advice on, like, the whole emotional side
Oh, yeah, because it's tough.
of job hunting, because it's a grind, right?
It's so hard on your ego. It's so...
It's so easy to, like, personalize everything.
Yeah, take it personally.
And,
But you shouldn't.
right, and it's so easy to get down on yourself.
Especially after a rejection. You're just like...
Oh, especially after, like, 10 rejections in a row.
Yeah, you're like, am I even good at anything?
What am I even doing with my life? Exactly.
What am I doing?
And that's where I think, like, their advice is really, like, spot on.
Okay, yeah.
They remind you that, like, one interview or even 10 interviews, it doesn't define you.
Right. It's just a process.
It's a process, and the right thing will come along.
It'll happen.
Yes, exactly.
Just gotta keep the faith.
Keep the faith and,
Keep applying.
keep applying, and remember, the right thing will come along when you least expect it, probably.
Yeah. When you're like, oh, whatever, this is never gonna...
Right.
Right, it'll happen.
It always works that way, doesn't it?
It does. It does. It's always when you least expect it.
Exactly.
It's like they say, sometimes no.
It's just the universe.
Just a way of saying not yet.
Yes. Exactly.
Right. Or have something even better in store for you.
I love that.
Right. Gotta keep your chin up.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
Everything from, like, prepping for the interview to that post-interview etiquette.
So important.
Right, because that's a whole thing.
It is.
And even, like, those self-care strategies to kind of, like, keep you sane throughout the process.
Because it's a marathon, not a sprint.
It really is.
Yeah.
What's, like, if you had to boil it all down, what's the one thing?
The one thing
that you really want our listeners to walk away with today?
I think it's preparation is key.
Yes. Couldn't agree more.
This guide, it gives you such a fantastic foundation.
It does.
But it's up to you.
You got to take the reins.
To take that and adapt it.
Yeah, make it your own.
Clear your goals.
More experience.
Experience, yes.
Yeah.
So do your research, practice those stories.
Yes. Stories are huge.
And most importantly, just, like, believe in yourself,
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got this. I love it. That's such good advice.
Right.
All right. Well, there you have it, folks. That is our deep dive on acing your next interview, with a little help, of course, from the experts.
The
gurus over at Lawrence University. So we hope you learned some valuable tips and tricks to help you land that dream job.
Go get 'em.
You got this.
Yeah.
We're rooting for you, and we will see you in the next one.